how proud you were of the players, because they've shown an awful lot of fight tonight.
Well, we started well enough, and I think the one thing about starting well is, as we all know, at this level of football, that small margins are so important, and the need to score was imminent at that point. So when we were taking the game to Arsenal, we really needed to have converted those opportunities that we had into goals. Because I think that when we saw even Arsenal at 2-0, or when we scored, we saw a lot of nervous players on the Arsenal side. So I think had we scored the first goal, that would have really shook their confidence, and I think that's what you have to do. They've obviously had a bitterly disappointment at midweek in the Europa Cup being knocked out. There's been a lot of this or that flying about how good they are, and I think that when you get the opportunity to nullify their confidence even more, you have to take it. We didn't, and then when we didn't do that, we gave them a few minutes to open us up and score two very good goals, which is very disappointing from our point of view, but I would have thought pretty satisfying the way they scored, and especially the second one, what a finish. But we came out the second half and regrouped and made a real go of it, and then probably scored the best goal of the game by far. Matheus Pereira, obviously outfield, without a doubt our most talented and skillful player. The rest of the team tried to support that, but unfortunately we were not good enough to get another goal. And in the end, we went all out, and they finished us off with an outstanding free kick from William. And that's disappointing for us. I thought the 3-1 for them was flattered them somewhat, but it is what it is, and it's a difficult end, having 3 games to go and knowing your fate. I wanted to stay. If we were to go down, I wanted us to go down on the last game of the season, but we haven't managed to get that far, sadly.
And that Pereira goal really was a moment of magic tonight. Do you think West Brom can keep hold of him next season?
Probably not. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but it's not my responsibility, or it's not my decision. I would have a say in it, perhaps, but I think that in the position that the club is in, that they would find it very difficult if the right offer came in financially to keep a player of this quality.
And have you had a chance to speak to any of the players in the dressing room before?
Said well done. You didn't go under. There was a fear from me that at the end of the first half that we were far too open and don't lose your discipline. They didn't. They went out, they came out fighting, took the game to Arsenal, got the rewards by getting themselves back in the game, but couldn't unfortunately go on from there. So pleased for them, but pleased they gave a big effort, and obviously we have to accept tonight and over the season we haven't quite been good enough, but we've certainly since the end of January give it our best shot, and that quite hasn't been good enough. I mean, when I think what Arsenal did to us at our place in January when I got there, I think we were lucky to get away with 4 with it. Could have been 5, 6 or 7. So it shows you how far we come in terms of the performance, not the result.
Last question from me. We've seen obviously this season the likes of Watford and Norwich go back up to the Premier League. Do you think West Brom have the ability to do that next season? And if not, what do they need?
I have no idea at this stage, and I'm not even considering or even thinking that far ahead. All I'm thinking about is the disappointment of today and what we've got ahead of us, and what's most important ahead of us is the 3 games that are coming up and finishing as best as we possibly can. And certainly, if we are to win one more game, in my personal point of view, I'd like to win them all. But certainly, if I had to win one more game, that would be West Ham, because the fans will be there to cheer us on. And I often think, or have often thought, throughout my period of time, what the home fans might have done for us in our position, because I think they could have been the extra man when we needed them, and I think they could have lifted us to win some games that we were drawing and could have won, particularly at the Hawthorns.
Thanks ever so much. Thank you.
Just in terms of going forward now, these 3 games, will we see a bit more experimentation maybe? Now your fate's been sealed, maybe a few more minutes for Carlin and Grady?
I think you get what they show in training. I think we get an opportunity to give the best team the best chance of going out to try and win against Liverpool, West Ham, Leeds, and I'm going to pick the best team in mind with some players that are desperate to get a chance at May, but it would only maybe be 1, 2 max. It wouldn't be any more than that, because I don't want to, throw any caution to the wind. I want to go out and perform to our highest level. I think we've performed to a very consistent level over the last 2.5, 3 months, but I haven't converted that consistent performance into enough wins. So I'm not that overstruck on changing the team too much.
I'll just ask about Gardner Hickman and Taylor as well. Obviously, a lot of young players have done well recently for the club, but why did those 2 earn a place on the bench tonight?
Because we felt we'd got room for them because of the bubble lifting us somewhat. I mean, the sad thing is that I normally take 6 or 7 academy players in my squad on a day-to-day basis, and that gives us opportunities to see them against the first team on a day-to-day basis in training, which is much easier for me to pick them to play in the first team than it is to watch them playing in the Youth Cup or the under-23s, because obviously that level of football is far way down the spectrum compared to playing in the first team. So playing against the first team players on a regular basis in training is a far greater judgment value for me. That hasn't been able to happen because of this horrible pandemic that we've suffered. So I haven't seen a lot of these wonderful players that are doing so well in the Youth Cup and doing in the 21s, but we've seen these 2 lads come up and train with us recently, and we thought we'd give them the experience to travel with us, which is very important. And obviously with the team doing so well in the Youth Cup, there's some bright future hopefully for a few of them, which will be very important for this club.
I know you've always said you'll be most disappointed for the club when relegation was confirmed, but how much is this hurting you?
Words can't describe it.